Well, leading experts from around the world are gathering in Riyadh for a two-day cybersecurity forum. And this event will focus on promoting collaboration, enhancing engagement between stakeholders, and driving new joint initiatives on key strategic priorities. Inglis is the former U.S. National Cyber Director. He'll be speaking at the gathering later today, and he joins us now from Riyadh. It's good to see you, Mr. Inglis. And we know you're going to be talking about integrating cybersecurity measures into national defense strategies. Can you give us a sense of how urgent this is? The case of the latest Iranian missile attack on Israel, for example, how much more detrimental could things have been had cybersecurity not been part of the defense?
I'm delighted to be with you today. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And I'm also quite pleased to be here in Riyadh for the Global Cybersecurity Forum. The theme this year, I think, is very apt to your question. It's a theme focused on collective action. Both of those themes are really important. One, it needs to be a collective response. Cyberspace is something that all citizens of the world depend upon, and only collective action can guarantee across national borders that we deliver the resilience required. And action really is the order of the day. To your question, cyber is one of those systems that we depend on, and it's a particularly fragile system. We have not made the investments over the last 50 years to make it naturally resilient and robust, and we must do that. Cyber can exacerbate any other facet of our global lives, whether that's individual, whether that's business, whether that's national security. And we simply need to ensure that we've made the investment so that it delivers to us what we need. I would just close by saying I don't think cyber is the important issue. It's the thing that depends on cyber. Again, daily lives, businesses, national security, and so we should invest for that reason above all others.
Well, you talk about a lack of investment. What else are countries still not grasping about geopolitics and resilience against cyber attacks?
I think we have to understand why we care about cyber or cyberspace. It's, again, not for its own sake. It's because the things we already care about depend upon it, whether that's conducting personal activities, banking online, reaching markets that you can't get to in a physical day. Those are all the reasons we care about cyber. Once you determine that you do care about cyber for those reasons, you need to understand how you then influence it. And it's not merely composed of technology, while that's the visible part. The skills of our people, the education of our people, they implicate cyber futures. The choices they make are very important to the conduct of cyberspace. And then finally, the assignment of roles, responsibilities, expectations, that's also very important. So we need to get the frameworks right, we need to get the skills and education right, and then we need to bend technology to that purpose, and I think we need to do it in that order.
I'm hoping to get a bit of specifics from you. In particular, how are you advising on state-sponsored financial attacks? We know North Korea and their alleged cryptocurrency targets are known to be very sophisticated. Do we understand how detrimental their reach could be?
We do understand what the consequences of their bad behaviors can be, and we need to bring some measures to bear to hold them accountable. But at the end of the day, I think they'll still do what they can to try to continue to acquire resources using cyber methods. So we need to focus on the other end of the problem as well, is how do we make ourselves more resilient, more robust, to increase the cost to them of actually succeeding in their bad behaviors, to make ourselves sufficiently resilient and robust that it's simply a much harder, if not impossible, problem for them to succeed. So I think there are three parts to this. One, increase the inherent resilience, robustness of the infrastructure upon which we rely. Two, be vigilant in the defense of that and do so through collective action. And then finally, impose consequences on the North Koreans or others who would act badly in this space. If we do all three of those things, then I think that we have a fair chance of not simply defending that space, but of having confidence that those resources, those processes that we execute through cyber will in fact work for us.
And looking out for the bad hats was what you did as National Cyber Director. And at the time, when you were in that position, American security concerns about TikTok came up. And now the company's fighting the case in the US. Now that you've had over a year away from your government role, how has your view shifted on threats posed by social media companies like TikTok?
Well, it hasn't shifted very much. I still believe what I believed then, which is the legal frameworks within which these companies operate. That's the most important issue. We need to make sure that whatever rights, privileges we owe to our citizens are in fact delivered, not simply by governments, but by the private sector that is on the front lines of delivering those services. That's the issue with TikTok. It's not that we believe that there's a malicious effort underway at TikTok by its employees, but the legal framework that would guard the information that users provide into TikTok, we need to make sure that that has the same legal protections it would in a country like the United States or like-minded nations.
And another aspect that you'll be covering in Riyadh is the evolution of future threats, given the rapid advancement of technologies. We need AI to fight crime, but it could also be the crime. So how do we best manage this?
Well, it's a great question, and I love the framing of your question because you talked about the speed. The speed at which that technology, generative AI, arrived is really the main issue. It's not what it is at the moment, but it's the speed at which it arrived, the speed at which it will become something else. And the only way to deal with something that moves so fast is to take a hard look at the underlying values. Have we, in fact, retained our desire to have technology work for us, or are we investing in technology for its own sake? We need to make sure that that technology serves human purpose. So let's define what its role is. Let's instrument it so that human beings understand what they've authorized it to do and what at any moment in time it is actually doing. And let's make sure that the human remains the accountable party and double down on critical thinking skills so that, once again, the human can remain at the center of that proposition. It might be a storm some days, it might be peace and tranquility on other days, but the human remains at the center. If we do that, then it can become a tool for humans, used by humans to achieve human aspirations. If we don't do that, then I think we will regret having missed that opportunity.
Well, good luck, and I hope you have some great conversations over in Riyadh at the forum. Chris Inglis is the former U.S. National Cyber Director. Thank you.